Looking forward to talking to our next guest. He has become one of the rising stars in the UFC, specifically the UFC middleweight division. Oh my God, this guy I think might be one win away from fighting for the belt. And he's coming off a win over Jared Cannonier. There's been some talk, maybe Nassourdine Imavov fight. He is one of the faces of the Fighting Nerds squad, which a lot of people thought was the team of the year in 2024. He is Caio Borralho, a.k.a. The Natural, and he's kind enough to join us from all the way in Sao Paulo. Hello, Caio. How are you, my friend? Bom dia. Boa tarde.
What's up, guys? Boa tarde.
Yes, boa tarde.
You said my name so good, man, because everybody says Borralho, Borralho. You said Borralho the right way, brother. Thank you for that.
Thank you. And it's a real pleasure to have you on. You've been doing incredible things in your career and in the UFC. Life must be very good for you, right? It's all coming together. I feel like you're on the cusp of a really big year.
Yeah, definitely. I said since my first fight in the UFC that I thought that 2025 could be the year of the belt, you know. So I'm getting ready for that, you know. I'm just, you know, attracting that, you know, working hard every day. And I think this is my year for sure. I think I might be one fight away for the title, so I'm just getting ready for this fight, and then after that I think about the belt, you know.
So a few fights have had to play out at 185 over the last couple of weeks. It's been a big month for the 185-pound division. Do you have any sort of sense as to what might be next for you?
Actually, you know, I think there's only two options now left for me into the division. You know, I think it's all the Robert Whittaker fight or Imavov's fight. You know, I think it's just the two guys that I have now to face. Imavov is, I think, 5 or 6 victories, straight victories, you know, and Whittaker, I think he's coming off a loss on Hamza, you know. So I think the only two guys to fight is these two, and I think Imavov is a better fight for me, you know, because he's the only guy who is with me running to the title, you know. So I think it makes sense for both of us to face each other and see who's the next one, you know.
So if it was up to you, you would prefer Imavov?
Yeah, I would prefer Imavov if we talk about, you know, the belt and all that, you know. But stylistically, I think me and Whittaker we could do a way better fight than me and Imavov, you know.
Were you surprised that Imavov beat Izzy?
No, not surprised at all. You know, I think Imavov is a very tough guy. He's very well rounded and all that. But I was surprised how fast he was. You know, like in the beginning of the second round and all that, and Easy was doing good in the first round. So the way that happened it may be surprising me, but not the victory. You know, I know Imavov is a tough guy and young, you know, and all that.
What about Jared Cannonier, who you have a win over back in August of last year? He came off a nice win over Gregory Rodriguez this past weekend. Were you surprised that he was able to do that?
No, I wasn't surprised. Actually, on my YouTube channel, I do some fight analysis and all that, and I said that this fight will definitely go for KO. It can be both guys, you know, but I thought that Jared could get it, you know, because he's more used to 5 rounds and all that. You know, RoboCop is very good, but I think he didn't adjust well to the 5 rounds, you know. So I think Jared was going to do what he did, you know, going into the fight slowly and getting bigger and bigger inside the fight, and he did it. You know, he's a tough opponent, high level guy, and look forward to see what's next for him.
Okay, so I keep asking you about middleweight guys, but I want to put a pin in the middleweight discussion in a moment, and I want to learn more about you because you are such an interesting person. First of all, your English is fantastic, and I understand this isn't like a new thing for you. You've been speaking and learning English for a very long time, right?
Yes. See,
Since
I
how
did
old?
some English school when I was young, you know, when I was in elementary school and all that. I did some English school until I was, I think, like 12 or 13, you know. And then I got into the first time to the America. I went in 2021 to do some photo shooting and all that to my contender series. And then that is where I realized like, oh, I can speak English, you know. So since then I'm improving a little bit better.
When you did the photo shoot for Contender Series, that was your first time in America, right?
Yeah, my first
Wow.
time in America.
Your first time in America was Las Vegas.
Yes,
What
Las
was that
Vegas.
like?
I love the city, you know. It's my dream city. It's the city that I fulfill my dream, you know, to go into the UFC. Because I come from northeast Brazil and a place named Maranhão, you know, and then I had to move to São Paulo for like 11 years ago, and then pursue a dream to go into the UFC. And then I only got to the UFC like 7 years after, you
Wow.
know. So it's been a long road for me, you know.
Was there ever a point where you thought you wouldn't get to the UFC, where the dream wouldn't get realized?
No, no, no. Actually, maybe like I had big injuries on my shoulder and my knee. I have like three surgeries on my left shoulder and two surgeries on my left knee.
Wow.
So definitely was some down positions. That you come to yourself and you ask yourself like, what if? Like, do you think it's gonna happen? Do you think it's gonna work out? But I was just focusing on developing myself as a human being too, and then getting better day by day and think about, day by day. And then I got into the UFC, but I never stopped believing, I never stopped believing.
When was your last shoulder surgery and when was your last knee surgery?
Actually, they were both on the same day.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, it was in 2017 was my last one. And then after that, I started to do more, strength conditioning, and I started my physical training with my strength conditioning coach Italo Villardo. Then I started to do some physiotherapy every day with my physiotherapist Mateus, and I did just a little bit of my nutrition and all that. And then I got rid of these injuries, since 2017. I haven't done any surgeries when it comes about injuries, like overtraining, or you train in the wrong way, so since 2017, free
Great.
of this.
Of the many things that I find interesting about you is that your first introduction to martial arts was judo, right?
Yes, 6 years old I was.
6 years old. And actually, I'm surprised that there aren't more people who have judo as a base when they go into MMA, because I feel like judo is a fantastic base. We've seen some over the years, of course. But you did judo from 6, like all the way, I think, to 19?
19, yeah, competing everywhere, and traveling and all that. I wanted to be an Olympic athlete,
And why
but
not?
it didn't work out very well. I think it's my fault, I think I wasn't much mature enough to know what I had to do to become a Olympic athlete, So maybe I wasn't mature enough, because after I stopped judo and started doing some MMA and all that, I came to São Paulo, and then I really realized what would be the cost to be a UFC fighter and all that, how hard I would need to work, and how consistent I would need to be, So I just wasn't mature enough when I was like 18, 19 in the judo,
When did you start thinking about going to MMA and the UFC in particular? Because when you're young doing judo and then you're thinking about the Olympics, at some point you make the cross over. So when did that start to happen?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit, maybe I was like 16 or 17. And then my father showed me, it was a videotape of Fedor Emelianenko versus Rodrigo Minotauro,
Wow.
and then it was my first fight at all that I watched on MMA. And then I watched that. I think I got this inside of me, since I was young, like since I was a kid, I was like to watch action movies, from Bruce Lee, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Jack Chan, and all those guys. I was always like fascinated about these movies and all that. And then after I saw this fight from Emelianenko and Minotauro, I was like, maybe I'm made for that,
Ah,
maybe I want to test myself for that, I need to prove myself that I'm not like just a kid that's full of fears and all that. So I wanted to prove myself something, and then I started MMA. I was like 19, maybe 20.
and did you go to any of those UFC events in Brazil when you were younger?
No, actually, no. Actually, no. My first UFC event in Brazil that I been part of, I was a guest fighter on 2022, I think, on Rio de Janeiro.
Okay. So
Yeah, I was a guest fighter on there, and then my second one was me fighting in São Paulo.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Is it? I mean, you look like you're a big guy. You're a tough guy. You grew up doing judo. How were you bullied as a kid?
Yeah, I wasn't a big guy at all, you know. Actually, I got a little bit taller when I was like 17. It was like right away, you know, like real fast. I got a little bit taller, you know, but because actually the moment that I was bullied, it was from like 11 to 15 or 11 to, yeah, 11 to 15, that the time that I stopped doing judo, you
Ah,
know. So I did it from 6 to 11, then I stopped like for 3 4 years, and then I got back with 15 16, you know. So that was my dark time, you know. The time that I suffer a little bit with this bullying thing and all that shit.
how bad was it?
Mm, I wasn't getting, you know, beaten in the school. Wasn't like that, you know. Was more like with uh some some bad guys in school, you know, they
Yeah.
want to just bully you and all that and make fun of you in front of everyone and all that shit, you know, like because you're not that big as them, you know, and then doing the same, the same grade again and again, you know. So that was more like that, you know. I didn't got beat up or anything like that, like real bad, you know.
Do those guys know what you do now? Do they know about you now?
They definitely know. They definitely know.
Okay.
They didn't get to talk to me, but they definitely know what I do. Yeah.
I love that.
They will live with that, you know. Maybe someday I can find this guy somewhere in this, you know, like I can see this guy, I can see Caio and I did that to him, you know. They're gonna live with that, you know.
yes.
That's all.
So the fighting nerds idea, like, is that accurate? Like, would you consider yourself a nerdy kid growing up? Were you that type of youngster?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I was actually people don't know that much, but I was a teacher when I was young. You know, since I was 15, I was a math teacher and chemistry teacher. You know, so I
Wow.
grew up from 15 to I was until before going to São Paulo until I was like 20, 21. That's the way I was like making money here, over there in my hometown. You know, I was teaching kids mathematics. I was teaching the guys from my college, chemistry and all that, you know.
Wow.
So I was kind of a nerdy guy, you know.
Did you want to be a professor? Like, what did you want to go far with this, or was it always just kind of something you did to make some money?
Yeah, actually, I was doing a college of industrial chemistry, you know. So I wanted
Huh.
to be, chemistry guy, you know, because I always like it, you know, since I started studying chemistry. But my grandpa is math teacher, you know, so I started because of him, just to make money, do some classes with kids in the neighborhood and all that, and then I like it, and then I started making a little bit of money on that, you know. So, but I think I always had inside of me that I wanted to compete, you know, even could be on judo or MMA or, anything like that. I always had this inside of me, you know. So for sure, I like it when I was, like teaching and all that, but I always had the things about competition inside of me, you know. So I always knew that I was going to do that.
Who came up with the fighting nerd's name?
It was Pablo Sucupira.
Your coach.
Yes, my coach.
And
Yeah, he's the founder of Fighting Nerds, you know.
what year was that?
Uh, 2019, I think. I think 2019. Yeah.
And so why does it seem like just in the last maybe year or two that it's really getting the attention on a worldwide stage? Is it because you guys had to grow and develop as fighters?
Yeah, exactly. We need to put at least one guy in the UFC to, to get this bigger platform to talk about the team and all that. So I was the first guy that we put into the UFC, and now a lot of more guys coming. So we needed that time, to grow up as martial artists, as people. I think so.
And officially, how many members of the Fighting Nerds team are there?
Oh, a lot. I think over like 15 teachers, like coaches,
Yeah.
15 coaches or something like that, 15. And I think around 40, 45 athletes.
Okay. And my understanding is the name that he thought of, it was between Fighting Nerds and another name, right?
Yeah, it was MMA Big Riders.
Thank God you didn't choose MMA Big Riders. I mean, that doesn't have the same type
Yeah.
of, spark to it.
Exactly, exactly. I think Fighting Nerd is a genius name, It's just two things that are opposite reuniting together, Fighting, you never think about a nerd guy when it comes about fighting, And there's the nerd. They never think about fighting when you see a nerd guy, So these
It's
two
brilliant.
words that complete together, I think it was a brilliant idea from Pablo. As
And
soon as he told me, like, I think it can be Fighting Nerds, I was like, that's the fucking name, man.
yeah.
Let's do it. That's the one,
And was it his idea as well to have the glasses and all that?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, it was his idea. I was the one who were always were wearing glasses, since I was kid, since the 3 years old. But the actual idea was from him, He came with that.
Do you guys always just have the glasses on you? Because we see like Elon Musk with the glasses, we see John Jones with the glasses. Everyone always has the glasses. Wherever you guys are, there's glasses everywhere. Here's Elon at Madison Square Garden. Do you guys just walk around with a bunch of glasses?
Yeah, everywhere, everywhere. Every trip that we go, at least one of us bring, like 100 glasses or 150, something like that. My last one to Australia, when I went to Australia, I brought with me like 150 glasses,
Brilliant.
So people, like, when we do the walkout, we throw it at people and all that. People love the glasses, Everybody wants the glasses, So it's fun to have it.
It's fantastic, and I love the paintings in the gym with all like the famous people wearing the glasses as well. Like you guys have done a great job of marketing yourselves, and I said before the show, and I don't know if this will resonate, but your team reminds me of like the old school MMA teams where we used to hear about like Team Quest and AKA and Jackson Wink.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot of guys who are just kind of all over the place, but you guys seem to be like a real unit, which I think is great.
Yes, yes, that's one thing that we appreciate in our team, a lot. The people that comes to our team always feel that, that union. I think it doesn't matter how big you are, if like, you feel like top 5, top 10, or anything, that you feel a champion or anything like that. You're the same as everyone, Everybody needs to understand their rights and understand what they can do and all that, So I think we're very uh there's a lot of union between us, and no ego at all, I think everybody can work together as one, I think this is one of the most beautiful things in the sport, that we can have like a team of 12 people working together and there's no ego on it, I
Mm.
think this is something that we really appreciate on our team.
Hey there, sorry to interrupt. Just want to remind you, if you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button. We would appreciate it very much. And while you're at it, give us a thumbs up too. We've got live shows, interviews, clips, and a whole lot more going on this here channel. All right, now back to the show. Now, I do have to say, we have had Carlos Praches on the show as well. He doesn't strike me as much of a nerd, Carlos. Is he?
Yeah, not that much.
He's
Yeah.
not.
He's the nerd of fighting,
Okay.
like this guy studies a lot, he's always tried to perfect his moves and all that, I think he speaks English and all that shit, so I think he's a nerd of fighting.
Okay, and does he smoke around the gym as well? Like, we keep hearing about him smoking packs. Is he
Yeah,
training?
yeah. Yeah, when he get out of training, we're going to lunch together. He always, he smoke one, and then when he comes back, he smoke another one, he likes.
Does he influence you? Does he make you want to smoke too?
No, no. I actually did smoke a little bit when I was young, but it was never my thing,
Okay.
It was never my thing.
When did you get your first tattoo?
My first tattoo, I think I was like 18 years old. My grandma was with me. It was this one on my chest.
Okay.
It's judo. Let me show you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Judo. So this was the first one. I was like 18 years old, and uh, and then after that, I did the other ones when I came to São Paulo after I was 21.
When did you get the neck one?
The next one was 2019, 2020. Yes.
And what does
This
that
my
represent? Free spirit. What are you trying to say with that?
Yeah, there's a bunch of things actually. I With the injuries that I had in my career, I had some time that I was anxious, that was the time that was asking me like if it was going to work or not, so I was really anxious, have some anxiety crises, out of breath, and all that shit,
Yeah.
and then there there was a song that was the only song that used to calm me down, and the name of the song was Free Spirit. It's a song from Khalid, and as soon as I started my breathing thing and all that, I put this song, and then I was calming down. So there was a song that really marked me a lot, and I always believed I was going to be in the UFC, so I wanted to pass some message with this too. So being free spirit is doing what you need to do, being disciplined and all that. And I think you need to be yourself, because nowadays people always want to be like the other guy on the Instagram and the other guy or these famous people and all that, and they forget to be themselves. So you're never gonna be a free spirit in this world if you want to be other person.
I
Just
love
need
that.
to be yourself, be disciplined. The true freedom is when you do what you need to do. You're not a slave of what you want. You do what you set up that you're gonna do, and this is the meanings.
That's brilliant. I love that. How much did it hurt to get it on the neck, though?
You fucking hurt a
Oh
lot,
my
Ariel.
God. Jeez Louise. Did you regret
Yeah,
it?
no, no, no regret at all.
Okay.
Actually, I love tattoo. That's my favorite one, and I don't even imagine myself without it. So I love this one. And my tattoo artist is a nice guy. He spent like just 1 hour on it. So it was actually pretty fast and
One
very
hour.
hard.
That's
A
it.
lot.
Wow.
Yeah, 1 hour.
It must have
Yeah.
felt like 10 hours in the moment, right?
Yeah, I felt like an entire day,
Yeah.
when we done with the tattoo, I just screamed so loud. It seems that was, just wanna fight. you know, it was the same like feeling.
We saw you out in Sydney with Sean Strickland before the fight. How did you develop a relationship with him?
So Sean actually is a crazy story because when I fought in the Contender Series, yeah, nice training session, this one.
Yes.
So when I fought in the Contender Series, I fought Aaron Jeffrey. And Strickland was the one helping Aaron Jeffrey in his training camp. So when it came to the fight into the Contender Series, I won the fight. But Strickland spent the whole fucking fight screaming like crazy over there. And then when the fight stopped, I came like that and said, "Who's the fucking middleweight that is screaming the whole fight? You're so bad, man." And then we had this back and forth between us, and he was like, "Let's fight in the parking lot," and was like, "Man, I don't fight for free. Fuck you." I was actually was the first thing that we said to each other was that. And then after that, he invited me to train, and then I was like, this guy wants to pick up a lot of guys from the gym, wants to beat me up. I'm not going to train with this guy. So I was thinking about that. And then after I went to train over there before my first fight in the UFC, and then I was in the extreme, and he was the nicest guy. We trained together. We, tried to kill each other in the training, but he was the nicest guy, very true, very honorable, and then we kind of started to develop our relationship. And then after that, I think I went back to extreme like 5, 7, 10 times more, and we were always training and developing, and actually all the extreme guys and Strickland, Curtis, and all that, they're like, big brothers to me. Every time that I was in town, even not being part of their team and all that, they separate the octagon for me if I have a fight schedule. They always, put me in the group so I can know all the training times and all that. So they're really nice, solid guys. I love those guys. So really nice guys. So that's how we start to develop our relationship.
So after being with him and training with him leading up to that fight, and then you saw how the fight played out, were you surprised?
Yeah, I was, man. Actually, I was. I think he underperformed. I don't know what he had with him. I think, you know, it just seemed that he wasn't there. He didn't show up. And I was a little bit intrigued by that. It's a surprise for sure, because I thought he was very well prepared. We did a good training session on Monday. We did a good training session on Tuesday. We did five round sparring actually on Tuesday, and he was looking good. He was there. He was flowing. His weight was good. His weight cut was smooth. I didn't know what happened. He just underperformed. But on the other side, we need to congratulate Dricus too. Because I think he did some adjustments inside this fight. If you compare with the first fight, and I think he did very good.
So do you think that that fight was more about what Dricus did or what Sean didn't do?
Both.
Yeah.
I think both. Yeah, 50-50 both.
Have you
We
talked to him
cannot.
since?
No, no, I didn't talk to him
Okay.
actually, but we cannot take the credit away from Dricus, but we definitely know that that's not how Sean always fight. He fought the best guys in the world, and he did very good and he had great performance in his career. So we all know that there's more Sean than that.
Dricus slowly but surely is approaching Anderson Silva territory. 9 wins in a row. He just tied Chris Weidman. Soon there's Izzy and then Anderson. Is he surprising you? Did you think that he had this in him?
No, actually, I'm very surprised. Actually, every time that Dricus fought, I was thinking the other guy was going to win.
Wow.
Every time, like Dorian Brunson, because he's so strange. He's so awkward. He misses a lot. He has a lot of mistakes on his game and all that, but he makes it work. This is the crazy thing. This guy make it work. 9 wins, 9 straight wins. He's the world champion, so he deserves all the credit. He deserves hats off all the time. That's the kind of guy that I want to test myself against.
What do you think people aren't doing against him that you would do against him?
I think people aren't controlling the distance, or if they are controlling the distance, they get tired of doing that, and
Mm.
then they stop controlling, and then they get knocked out. Like there was a few people that was actually pissing him apart on the striking. Darren and Brunson a little bit. Adesanya, and then they stopped to control the distance because they got tired of being. When you fight Dricus, you need to be in this fight for the 5 rounds. You cannot uh, get a lack of concentration. You cannot get away of the focus. You need to be focused for the 5 rounds, in the intervals too, and in the rounds too. So I think those guys, they get tired of being in the fight all the time, and then in 2 3 rounds they get tired, and then they stop controlling the distance, and that's when Dricus gets is getting bigger and bigger inside the field. He managed to do different. It's definitely I can focus for 5 rounds. We can see how I did that with Cannonier, very dangerous guy. I think I can be focused for 5 rounds, and I think I can control the distance as much as I want. And then he gets tired, and then I start to piss him apart. That's my game plan.
I
Mhm.
appreciate it. I appreciate the analysis and the game plan. It does appear as though Khamzat is next for him. How do you see that one playing out? Who do you think wins?
You know, maybe I think Hamza wins. But every time that I doubt Dricus, he won. So I don't know. I don't know what to say about this guy anymore. I think he's very awkward and all that, but he makes it works. And who knows if he's gonna make it works against Hamza? I think Hamza wrestling is on another level, but I think that Dricus is not that uncomfortable on the grappling scene scenario. So I think it can be a great fight.
And so you broke up a little bit, but
Hello,
yes. Did we
hello.
lose you? Do you see me?
Yeah, I think so. No, I see you. I see you.
Okay.
Did you guys?
I missed just a little bit there. You say that you think it's Hamzat, but you also acknowledge that every time you see or you're about to see Dricus fight, you think he's going to lose, so you wouldn't be surprised if he wins again.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Because Hamza wrestling is so good, but that's not an area of the fight that I think Dracos is uncomfortable. I think he's comfortable with the grappling scenario too. So who knows if this guy is gonna make work against Hamza too? Who knows? But I think he can be an interesting fight. Yeah.
Because you are so close to fighting for the belt, do you have a preference who wins? Like, would you like to be the first guy to beat Dricus as champion, or would beating
Yeah.
Khamzat be of greater interest to you?
No, I prefer to face Dricus, Like Hansa is a hell of a competitor and all that. And but actually I know I can beat him too. But he's a kind of a friend of mine, not that close friend because we train together. I helped him with his fight against Nate Diaz that was supposed to happen against Nate Diaz. So I was there in Sweden and then we fly to Vegas to finish his training camp and all that. So I was there helping him. So I approached it a little bit from him, when I was father, my son was born, he came to me and said congratulations and all that. So that was kind of the our friendship that we have. So with that being said, for sure, I prefer to face Dricus.
How did that come about? How did your friendship with Khamzat come about?
Oh, it came because of Block Asset,
Ah,
the guys
yes.
from Block Asset. Yeah, so they just came to me and asked if I want to help Hamza on his training camp against Nate Diaz. If I want to go there with, everything paid to Sweden and help him and all that. And I said yes right away. I was just an upcoming guy with like 2 fights in the UFC, so I wanted to get better. I still want to get better, but I was like wanted to get better, young on the game and all that. So definitely want to go there to learn from these guys and I actually learn a lot from the guys on the All Stars when Hamza used to train there, and Andreas and Alan Finfo, his trainers and all that. So it was good.
I like to see you training with all these different stars, Alex Pereira, Khamzat, Sean Strickland. Is there anyone out there that you wouldn't fight? Because you have all these relationships and you're open to training with all these different people, is there any fight that you would say no to?
Like when we come in the top of the sport, we cannot say no to these fights. Like if we fought the belt, I would fight Strickland, I would fight Hamza, I would fight any of these guys for the belt. For big things. Do you still got me?
Yeah, we still see you.
Yeah, do you hear me well?
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, wait. So yes, if we were for like big things, big paychecks or for the belt and all that, I would fight Strickland, I would fight Hamza, I would fight any of these guys. But I think there's one guy that I maybe will never face, because he's such a nice guy. He's a big friend of mine. He's in the same division, and it's Michel Pereira. You know, I don't want to fight against him. I think our path almost crossed. Because he was doing good, and then he lost 2900s and all that. But I don't think I will fight him. He's such a nice guy. I like this guy so much.
Okay, fair enough. I appreciate that. When do you expect to fight again? When do you expect the fight date will be?
So I want to fight as soon as possible. Maybe the April card, or May. I think maximum June. I won't fight until June, because my last fight was in August last year. So
Yeah.
if I fight in June, I will be like 10 months with no fighting. So it doesn't make that much sense.
Why so long, by the way? How come you haven't gotten anything since?
Yeah, because the division was too messy,
Yeah.
and they wanted to see how you're gonna work out against, Imavov and Adesanya and Dricus and Strickland, and how Hamza will be with Whittaker and all that. And now I think they have the answers and the plan that they want. So I think the next like 1 or 2 weeks we might have something. Let's see.
Okay. And how many kids do you have?
One,
Just one.
one kid, Liam.
A little boy, right?
Yeah, little boy, Liam. His
How
name
old is
is
he?
he's 1 year and 5 months now.
There he is.
Yeah, the best thing in my life, man, that ever happened to me.
I love it. Well, enjoy and such a great pleasure to talk to you. You're such a likable guy and a guy that's so fun to root for, and you're doing great things. So I wish you nothing but the best. Thank you so much for coming on, Caio. Great to have you on. Great to meet you, and looking forward to a massive year for you in 2025. At the end of this year, at the end of 2025, where are you at? What do you have?
With the belt, definitely with the belt at the end of this year. That's what I've been planning, my whole life, and since I got into the UFC and all that. And I think everything is gonna line up together. I'm working hard, and then this title shot is coming this year, and the belt's coming this year. You know.
I look forward to it. Good luck. Thank you for coming on. Obrigado.
Thank you. Huge honor. Thank you so much. De nada. Obrigado, irmão.
There he is. Caio Borralho. He is kind enough to join us and really one of the top stars. And you talk to him and you look at him and you say, this guy has it. The English is great. Obviously, the Portuguese is great. The fighting style is great. The look is great as well. What a guy. The glasses, the tattoo, the fighting nerds.
The whole package, man.
He really does, right?
Yeah, like I'm a fan now.
Thanks for watching this video. Before you go, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for us. Also, give us a thumbs up, leave a nice comment. These things go a long way. And while you're here, do check out the rest of the channel. We've got live shows and full interviews, clips, and a whole lot more. We're doing big things here, and we appreciate your support very much.